Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About Life with me, your favorite journalist, Kedra. Y'all, we're going to get right into it, okay? Because there's just so much going on this week. Per usual, lawsuits, Diddy. Now, I want you guys to understand that I'm going to bring you guys details and updates on what's going on with Diddy every single week. I think his trial is set for May. So until then, I'm going to give you guys updates every week. But y'all, Diddy is being sued yet again. He has 5 new lawsuits being filed against him. 3 are women and 2 are men. One of the women at the time was only 13 years old. She's alleging this crime took place. So basically, these crimes span between 2000 and 2022. Back in 2000, a 13-year-old girl says that it was after the VMA Awards. She came across a security guard for Diddy, right? The security guard was like, hey, you look like Diddy's type. Do you want to meet him? She said, sure. She goes into the after party. This was in New York, in his home. And she says that she was asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement. He gave her something to drink, or someone gave her something to drink. She describes it as being very bitter. And then she says that she was drugged. She says that he had a crazed look in his eyes and that he allegedly told her, are you ready to party? The woman, who is now in her 30s, says that she was raped by him and that she was raped by another unnamed celebrity and that an unnamed female celebrity sat by and watched. She says after the incident, she was able to escape and she ran to a gas station that was nearby and ended up calling her father. This is all according to People magazine, by the way. The other 2 female victims, one from LA and one from Vegas, claimed that they were both drugged. These are 2 separate incidents, and that they were both raped by Diddy. Then there were 2 men. On 2 separate incidents, the 2 men said that they were drugged and sexually assaulted. One guy says that Diddy groped him after a Ciroc party or during a Ciroc party. And the other guy says that he was actually drugged. Diddy allegedly performed fellatio on him and he was passed around amongst other celebrities. He woke up the next day in front of his apartment with no shirt on and no cell phone. There are over 100 people who are accusing Diddy of some type of sexual misconduct or rape. And these folks are all being represented by one lawyer, Tony Busby. And Tony actually set up a hotline for folks to call in. Busby is also representing multiple women who accused Cleveland Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson of sexual misconduct. But Combs' lawyer is saying this is all false, that he has never sexually assaulted anyone, including a man, a woman, or a minor. So yeah, it's getting really messy for Diddy. As we know, he was denied bond. The judge, and he's sitting in a Brooklyn jail right now. The judge essentially said that he can't have bond because he is a flight risk and because they believe that he would tamper with evidence and basically try to manipulate witnesses. I think for Diddy, people were like, oh, well, Cosby got bond. Oh, well, Weinstein got bond. Why can't he get bond? And I think what separates Diddy is that he was such a public figure. I would say he was even bigger than a Weinstein because most of us didn't really know who he was. Unless you were in the entertainment business, we didn't really know who he was. We knew his work, but we didn't really know who he was. I think the same thing with Cosby because he did a lot of things behind closed doors. A lot of things were rumors. I think that we've seen and we've been hearing about Diddy for years, rumors. There's always been rumors about his behavior. There's always been rumors about him being a jerk, basically. We saw it on Making the Band. We've seen it on countless reality shows of him and how he acts and how he just tries to control and manipulate people. And then the case with Cassie didn't make it any better because if y'all remember back in November when Cassie filed that lawsuit against him, he filed extremely quickly. He settled rather extremely quickly. So a lot of folks felt like that was an admission of guilt. And then we saw the video of how he treated her, so of how he kicked her in that hallway, and the fact that it was just so brazen that he was just even so comfortable to do that in a hotel hallway where anyone could walk in at any single second. So I think those are the things that I think that's why Diddy was denied bail, because he showed us so many times that he just doesn't give a You know what I mean? Like repeatedly. So I think that's what's working against Diddy and why he hasn't gotten bond. If I was a judge, I wouldn't give him bond either. I wouldn't give any of these people bonds. I would hope I never become a judge because no one's getting a bond, especially when you're accused of assaulting minors. These are big charges. You got to go to trial first. So yeah, I definitely understand why he's not getting bond. The Central Park Five is suing Donald Trump, or the Exonerated Five, rather. They're suing Donald Trump because if you guys remember during the debate, Donald Trump actually came out and said, well, Kamala brought it up. Kamala said, you actually put in the paper that calling for the Exonerated Five to be murdered, to basically be sentenced to the death penalty. And Trump was like, well, they pled guilty. So if they pled guilty, I don't know what's wrong with me. And they killed someone. Actually, I'm going to tell you exactly what he said during the debate, just to jog y'all memory. They admitted, they said they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. If they pled guilty, then they pled guilty. Were they not guilty? So, yeah, no, you can't. That's wrong. They did not plead guilty. They were teenage boys at the time, and they were interrogated. And during the interrogation, they were interrogated for hours without food and water. And it's very common for folks to give false confessions when they're being interrogated under those conditions, especially children. Their parents were not there. They were essentially being questioned illegally. But when they actually went to trial, they all pled not guilty. And it was found that they obviously did not do it. They did serve jail time. But in 2002, they were exonerated after DNA evidence linked a man to the actual assault. He was a serial rapist, and he admitted to doing it. And the city paid the boys $41 million. And again, this was back in the early 2000s. So $41 million is a lot of money now. Imagine what that was for them then. The five men, Antron McCray, Kevin Richardson, Yusef Salam, Raymond Santana, Corey Wise. And Trump also said that a victim had died. No one died. There were a series of assaults and robberies that night that they tried to link the boys to. But again, they did not do it. They were found innocent, and they actually found the man that did it. So the men now, these are grown men, child. The men are suing for defamation. It was filed in the Eastern District Court of Pennsylvania. A spokesperson said on Monday, this is another frivolous election interference lawsuit filed by desperate left-wing activists in an attempt to distract the American people from Kamala Harris's dangerously liberal agenda and failing campaign. Also, Kamala's campaign is not failing. She's actually doing really good. Her and Trump are neck and neck. Those battleground states are really going to determine who wins the election, whether it's Arizona or PA. I think Kamala is actually up in PA, but Trump is up in Arizona. So that will actually be the deciding factor on who wins. So that's another lie. But you know, they love to lie over there over that Trump campaign. And the Exonerated Five, to be honest, they're really not even looking for money. They really want an apology from Trump, but they know that's probably never going to happen. But the way that the law works, they can't really sue for an apology. It has to be some type of monetary value, and they're actually going to let the courts decide what that monetary value should be. Their attorney said, unfortunately, the civil justice system doesn't permit us to require Mr. Trump to apologize or retract his statement. The most that we can obtain are money damages, both to compensate these five men for Mr. Trump's damaging their reputations and for punishment of Mr. Trump for making these statements. Because in reality, we live in a society where people don't read anymore. People take sound bites and they run with it. So for him to get up in front of millions of people and accuse these men of killing someone is absolutely ludicrous. You can't do that. It's all fake. And for people who don't remember this story, who weren't paying attention, who don't care, they might actually think that these men did that. And it's not true. You can't do that. So yeah, they have every right to sue, and I hope that they get all of the coins. But, you know, Donald Trump has so many lawsuits right now. It's like, this is the developing story. I'll keep y'all posted. Y'all, I don't understand Amber Rose. Y'all already know. We've talked about it here before. I was such a fan. But I'm so disappointed in her because she obviously, we know at this point, she's chosen to go to the dark side. She is admittedly a Trump supporter at this point. And she actually just had a Halloween party. And during the Halloween party, I don't know why people are asking her political questions, but someone asked her, what do you have to say to Black people who are saying that, you know, you're supporting a racist? And she was like, well, I'm a biracial woman, because, you know, she loves to always talk about that. But you know who's not biracial? Her son and her ex-husband and her last baby daddy. And she goes to say that when I was a Democrat, I also believed that Trump was racist, but I've done my research. And now that I've done my research, I know that that was all just propaganda by the Democrats to call him racist. And there's no way that he's racist. He's actually a really good guy and he really cares about people. And I just don't understand when people call him a racist. It's just not true. It's just not facts. And even the way that she speaks, it very much gives that she is just copying and pasting something that Trump and his people told her to say. And I actually Googled, you guys, what does it mean to be racist, right? And it says, characterized by or showing prejudice, discrimination against a person or a people on the bias of their membership, particular racial or ethnic group. Now, let's think about Trump. We know that he was sued for discriminating against Black people back when he was into real estate. He wasn't allowing Black people to move into his buildings. Actually, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, was also accused of something similar back in 2020. So yeah, that was a really big thing. It's also very interesting that all the people that work for him at his golf club, as far as like, you know, the low level jobs, are all Mexican. He speaks out against Mexicans all the time, Chinese, against Haitians, and says disparaging things about them. He actually says that criminality is in immigration's blood. I want you to Google that. Never listen to anything that I say. Always Google and fact check everything that I say, because that's the only way that you guys are going to learn. But this just came out 2 days ago at one of his rallies, that he said that criminality was actually in the blood and DNA makeup of immigrants. So to me, I don't know what it sounds like to y'all, but to me that sounds like showing prejudice, discrimination against a person or a people based on their membership of a particular racial group. Because he never speaks out about Italians. He never speaks out about the Russians. He never speaks out about, you know, he has specific groups. This is not the first time he's spoken out against Haitians. This is not the first time he's spoken out against immigrants, Haitians, against Mexicans, against the Chinese. He is consistently talking negatively about one specific group and spewing hatred, and that revs up the people who actually are going to go out and commit crimes against these marginalized groups. We know that when Donald Trump was president, hate crimes were up. Hate crimes were up because he spews this rhetoric, because he talks like this. So he doesn't have the actual courage. I mean, unless when it comes to real estate or when it comes to business, yes, he'll discriminate against you, which is also racist. But he doesn't have the courage to actually attack people of color. So he says these things. So the low level people, the low lives, or the people that we saw back that took over the Capitol, they'll do it for him. He doesn't have the courage to do it in that type of way. So he encourages other people who already have those racist ideologies to go and do it for them. So for him. So it's the same thing. So yeah. So I don't know why Amber Rose would say that. It's just based on my research. You can see it's not true. I don't know what kind of research she's doing. I don't know whose internet she's on, but it's not Beyonce's, because on Beyonce's internet, it's very clear who Trump is. It's very clear what Trump believes in. So yeah, I don't know what she's talking about. I can't wait till I can find her book so I can burn it. I haven't found it yet, but when I do find it, you guys, I'm going to burn it. It's going to be a great day. Yeah. Real Housewives of Potomac. Now, y'all know I'm a Real Housewives of Potomac girly. Now, I know a lot of y'all don't like that show, but out of all the Housewives franchises, it is one of my favorites. And I love, obviously, Atlanta, New York. I even love the New York girls. I don't watch Orange County, and I never got into Jersey, but Potomac are my girls. I'm actually going to talk about the new girls. So Stacey. We have Stacey on the show. I really like Stacey. Stacey is our QVC host girly. Very cute, very fun. I like her. She reminds me of Stacey. She reminds me of Katie. If y'all remember Katie from seasons, I think 1 and 2. Katie was just kind of all over the place. But what I like about Stacey is that she seems like she's very lighthearted, but she also gives very cutesy, very like, you know, upper echelon. I love that about her. What I don't love about her character so far on this show, I say character because again, I don't know her. I'm just going by the character on the show. She voiced her concern about her daughter. She has a beautiful daughter, and I think she's about maybe 10 years old. And she's, you know, teaching her Spanish, and she knows German because her husband is German, and he's very, I think German or Russian. I think he's German. Very proud of his heritage, as she should be, and he's teaching it to his daughter. So she just voiced her concern, saying like, oh, I just hope that my daughter does not miss out on her Black heritage. I want her to know how important it is to be Black too. Girl, you are her Black mama. It is your responsibility to do that. And you are from Detroit, child. If you don't take that girl down to Detroit for the summer or for the weekend and have her hang out with her cousins, aunties, whomever the case may be, and so she can get her hair braided and have fun and drink water out the water hose and just be a regular kid, eating chips, drinking Huggies like the rest of us, and teach her about Black history, teach her about Black culture, really immerse her into it, the art, the beautiful, rich history of us. There, and you live near Chocolate City. You live near DC. I think she has a home in DC. So there's no reason why your daughter should not be immersed in her Black history, even more than her German side, like not in a shady way, but because you're in DC, it's all around you. It doesn't make sense. So don't be weird, Stacey. Like, don't be on that weird whatever. I don't know how to get at her culture. Don't be weird, Stacey. Like, let's just get down to it. There's so many resources. There's no excuses. You're a Black woman. Get it done, girl. She's also dating this guy, right? She's dating this guy and she likes him and they're talking about marriage, but they have not done the do yet, y'all, which I think is very interesting. And don't get me wrong, I'm really stepping into my Christian girl era. So I love that she's waiting for marriage, but I feel like to wait for marriage with a person, I fully understand the whole idea of wanting to test drive the car before you buy it. Totally get it. But she doesn't want to do that. And I respect that. But I do think that the relationship, from what I see on screen, it looks a little bit weird and awkward. It doesn't give lusty. And I just feel like if y'all are going to wait until marriage, there at least needs to be some type of chemistry. And I'm not seeing any chemistry. It's just giving dead fish. It's just not giving a vibe. It's just saying that, you know, he's not a very sexual person. That's fine. She said he's not a virgin. So that's really good. But that he has hooked up with other people. He's hooked up with other people in other relationships, but they have not hooked up yet. He does not want to until marriage. So I think that might be a little bit of a cause for concern because, again, they very much give friends when we see them together. So yeah, so we'll see how this plays out because that could be a great thing. It could be a beautiful spiritual thing because I do think that sometimes we live in a very hyper sexualized culture where that's always the focus. And I definitely believe that there needs to be a strong foundation in any relationship for it to matter outside of just hooking up. But there has to be something there because if there's no type of chemistry in that department, you could be waking up to a rude surprise. What if there's nothing down there? Like, what if they finally do hook up and there's like nothing there and now they're married? You know how crazy that is? You need to feel it or something, see it, something. I don't know, but either way it goes, we're gonna monitor that. Kiara is back on the show. I like Kiara. Kiara is the one that was attacked last season by Sesame Street. Remember Sesame Street? That was Ashley's friend. She was attacked by Sesame Street, Ashley's friend, last season. She got the scar on her head. I actually really like her. She's bringing some good drama this season. She got this new man, right? And it's very interesting because she says that she has never been ring happy, but they're going to build a home together and they're living together right now until the home gets ready. And I just think that's really interesting because you are not ring happy. You're not making sure that y'all get married, but y'all are building a home together, which I think is a little bit strange. The Grand Dame, Karen tried to put her on. Karen was like, listen, girl, before you move into that house, you need to be like, babe, I need a ring. Like, we need to solidify this. But she was like, she kind of glossed over it. She missed the lesson. Listen to your elders, child. Because you see, the Grand Dame is living good with the Black Bill Gates. So you need to solidify your spot too. He's divorced with 3 children. And now y'all just playing house together. You over here cooking and cleaning for the man. He hasn't committed to you. Yes, y'all are making a house together, but so y'all can be business business partners, but y'all can't be marriage partners. I don't know, it's a little bit fishy for me. But I really like her on the show. I also really like Jazzy. She's new. She's not a official housewife. She's a friend. But I think she should replace Giselle. I think Giselle should be a friend because Giselle doesn't really bring much. She just stalks Karen and just follows Karen around. Giselle's role is just following Karen around. So at that point, she could just be a friend to Karen, and we could put Jazzy on the show, because I like that Jazzy came on the show full throttle. She stood up to Giselle because, Giselle kicked her out of her event. Giselle kicked out Mia, Jazzy, and Stacy, and Jazzy stood up for herself. And I feel like a lot of the new girls typically don't do that when they go on these shows. They kind of just keep their mouth shut. They kind of just keep their mouth shut and don't really rock the boat. So I like that she stood up for herself. It was like, no, that is classy and tacky. And she came after Ashley. So I like her. So she's already given us fire. It's only been 3 episodes. So I say we replace Giselle, put Jazzy in. We can get rid of Wendy. I never really liked Wendy because I feel like she's just very pretentious. I do like this season that we're finally getting to learn about Eddie's parents. Because remember, her mom and Eddie's parents didn't like each other. They used to be friends. When they finally were getting married, they stopped liking each other. So I do want to see that dynamic play out. But besides that, Wendy can be a friend of the show too. I never felt like she really brought much. She's extremely pretentious. They need to bring back a scholar. Remember a scholar? She was so pretty. She was there a couple of seasons ago. Bring back a scholar. She brought a lot to the show, and she brought the fashions. And I feel like no one really brings the fashions on this show except for Karen. Stacey looks cute, but Skylar just brought the fashion, the beauty. Bring her back and bring back Katie. Now that's a cast. And bring back Monique. We can get rid of Wendy. We can get rid of Giselle. Bring back Monique. Bring back Skylar and bring back Katie. Now that is a show. Yeah, because we lost Robin too. So we have another spot. And we don't even miss Robin, child. We haven't even thought about Robin Dixon. And no one's asking where Juan is. So I love that. No one misses her. So we need to bring those 3 people back onto the show. Those are my thoughts for this week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, I'm going to bring you guys Diddy updates. I think his trial is in May. So I'm going to bring you guys Diddy updates every single week until then. I appreciate y'all so much for watching and rocking with me. Again, give me all your thoughts in the comments. Press subscribe and like if you have not, or press dislike, whatever your heart desires. And God bless you. And I will see y'all next week. Bye.